Thank you for joining us for another Pathfinding section. We graciously welcome you to the Pathfinders Global family.
What we do at the Pathfinders Global is to help you discover your purpose, bring you into the understanding of what it takes to achieve your purpose, and ultimately ignite the willingness in you to pay the price it takes to achieve your purpose.
We hope that this content is illuminating to you as you discover your path and achieve your purpose.
And now,
let's get into the section.
Necessity is the mother of invention. I'd like to welcome you to another pathfinding session, and I know today's session is going to be illuminating to you. I know and I hope. And today we're going to be talking about 5 very important factors that if you employ and utilize can actually lead you to the attainment of any goal whatsoever. Any goal. Napoleon Hill tells us that whatever the heart, the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can actually achieve. Now this conclusion was made from the fact that science has evolved, and the results or the findings from science that we have today sometime before would be considered magic. So imagine flight, right? Imagine seeing into space. Imagine all this. Imagine using your mobile phone, and then simultaneously with you speaking, somebody can actually hear you from the other end of the world. So it's a subject of belief. So once your mind can conceive it and believe it, it can actually achieve it. So what are these factors that I want to talk to us about? Number 1, you need to be decisive. Decide on exactly what you want. What is it you want? Now, what we found out is that when you make a decision, nature follows. Until that decision is made, nature is under no obligation to pre-program events that lead you towards the attainment of the goal. So you need to be decisive about what you want exactly. In your educational pursuit, in your career pursuit, in your marital pursuit, in your business pursuit, in your academics pursuit, you need to be decisive. If you want to be the best in what you do, decide on it. In your craft, you want to be the best in what you do, decide on it. Make up your mind that I want to be the best. Now, what happens when you make up your mind is that once your mind is made up, things begin to happen. Your eyes, your brain is no longer shut. Now, what people do is that they think they want this thing, and then they say, oh, I can't achieve it. Now, once that decision is made that you can't achieve it, your brain shuts down. But once you open your mind to the possibility that it's possible to be attained, your brain opens up and begins to elaborate on ideas. So you find out that things that are not supposed to, that ordinarily wouldn't happen, begin to happen. You want to be the best at your craft. You find out that there is a free lesson you can take. You find out that somebody is offering a free program. You find out that this is happening, this event, your mind begins, your reticular cortex begins to open to different scenarios, different programs, different ideas that will lead you to the attainment of your goal because you've decided on it. But if you don't decide on it, it can't be attained because your mind is blunt. Now, what are the 2 very important things you need to decide on? You need to decide on the clarity of your goal. The clarity of your goal. Decide on the clarity of your goal and decide on developing yourself personally. Personal development, very important. Now, personal development is simply you striving hard to become who you need to become. Striving hard. Now, watch my words very carefully. Striving hard to become who you need to become. It takes effort, and you need to decide on it and work towards it. Number 2, secondly, you need to take excellent care of your health. Now, what we found out is that people don't do well because they don't feel well. So even if the ideas are popping into your head, your mind, your subconscious mind, you can't execute them. And if you can't execute them, what happens is that the idea factory shuts down. So you find out that there is a certain period in time where you get in ideas, you get in innovations. If you give time, procrastinate, and you do not execute on those ideas because you are not feeling too well, the factory of ideas will shut down. So your brain becomes dormant. There are sicknesses, illnesses that are called psychosomatic. Now this is when your mind, psycho, causes your body, soma, to fall ill. In fact, research shows that 85% of illnesses today, as we know, are actually psychosomatic. People think themselves to sickness, to illness rather. So they're not actually sick, they're not actually ill, but they're simply thinking of it makes their body to adjust to getting sick. So you need to take control of your health. Be decisive about it, because if you don't feel well, you won't do well. It takes a lot of energy to achieve your goals. It takes a lot of energy to strive towards success. For you to do that world high agenda, for you to appear on that stage, to lecture to people, for you to teach, for you to be the best at what you do, for you to attend meetings, events, for you to honor invitations, you need to be healthy. Now what we found out is the highest of performance are those who take their health most seriously. Now mediocres and failures are dormant about their health. They don't take it seriously. But those who are in high peak, in high performance, know the value of their health and they take it seriously. And if you are aspiring towards that peak, now what we know is that it's not the peak that is important, it's the person you need to become to get to that peak. So if you're aspiring to get to that peak, it's only wise that you do what those people at that peak are doing. From your dressing, your health, the way they talk, the way they relate, their courtesy, their mindsets, their thoughts, their behavior, all those things are necessary. And all these that I've just mentioned are not attainable if you don't feel like it. If you can't wake up in the morning from your bed full of energy, your dream factory is going to shut down, because even if it brings idea, you can't execute on them. You can't bring them to reality. So it is pointless. It means it's simply wasting its time. So take control of your health, very importantly. Thirdly, you need to hang around the right people. Hang around the right people. Edit your associations. Edit your relationship. The people you spend your time with. The people you spend your day with. The people you communicate with most of the time. Who are there? What do they do in your life? What contribution are they adding to your life? What value are they adding? Now what we know is that there are two types of relationships. We have positive relationships and toxic relationships, or we call them nourishing or toxic. So nourishing relationships are those relationships that inspire you, they motivate you, they believe in you, they push you towards the attainment of your goal. Toxic relationships are relationships with people that belittle you, that all they do is dissuade you, deter you, hinder you, they limit you, they keep you in a state of mediocrity. They tell you you can't do it. All they do is bring or shut down your dream. They know this is what you want to do, but they tell you you can't do it, not because you really can't do it, but they don't believe it, because of course they are failures. And what we know is that if you hang around with failures, ultimately you are a failure. A speaker once said that if you have 5 people around you who are mediocre, visionless, futureless, purposeless, then you didn't actually count well. Now the answer to that is that you're actually the 6th person. So the mere fact that you're hanging around people 5 who are visionless, mediocre, not goal-oriented, you are the 6th person in that company. If you hang around with failures, you are a failure. As they say, show me your friend, I tell you who you are. So who do you spend your time with? Who are the people that consume a chunk of your time? As we know, life is all about time and change. And the more you waste your time with people who are not pushing you towards the attainment of any goal worthwhile, the more you conform to their circle. So you need to hang around the right people. Hang around people who inspire you, who motivate you, who push you towards the attainment of your goal, because this is what is important. Now, what I tell people to do as an exercise, very importantly, is that you take out a sheet of paper. I do this every day, by the way. You take out a sheet of paper, a plain sheet of paper, nothing written on it, and write down the name of 10 people. 10 people you spend most of your time with. You write down their names and then ask yourself this very important question. What kind of a person am I becoming because of this relationship? What kind of a person am I becoming because of this relationship? Now, when you review your list, you find out that if you are still in a state of mediocrity, you find out that the only people you're hanging around with are time wasters. They are those people that tell you nothing, that is pushing you towards the attainment of your goal. All they do is come around you and waste your time. Now, what I advise you to do is that the next time such a person comes to you, tell them, I am busy pushing towards my destiny. How about you find somebody else whose destiny you can destroy or whose time you can waste? Because yours is important. Yours is important. Now, remember, the reason why we are doing this is to push us towards success. Because what we know is that life is a gift. Our presence in life is to attain success, to make a contribution to the world that will outlive us. So if we are going to do that, we have to be intentional. In our relationships, it has to be intentional. So edit your relationship. You can't hang around with chickens if you want to solve like the eagles. The eagles are up there, the chickens are down here. Now, if you want to be like the eagles, you need to hang around with the eagles. Because so long as you're hanging around with the chickens, automatically you are a chicken. Yeah, so that's the third point. And fourthly, you need to control your thoughts. You need to control your thoughts. Successful people are success conscious. This is a quote from Pablo Picasso. He said that successful people are success conscious. Failures are failure conscious. Now, what successful people think about all the time. Stop any man or any person that is successful today and interview him. You find out that you ask him, what are you thinking right now? He tells you, they are always goal-oriented. They are always thinking about something that is moving them towards success. That's what successful people do. Now, you need to control your thoughts to start thinking thoughts that are leading you towards failure. Thoughts of complaint, whining. The past. The past is a destructive force. Now, the past, if not controlled, can destroy your future, limit your present, and ultimately eliminate the fulfillment of your destiny. So you need to think the right thoughts. Now, on that thought, what I advise people to do is positive visualization. Now, positive visualization entails that you think yourself to be the person you want to become. Not necessarily because you become that person, but because that is the person you want to become. So see yourself as the person you want to become. Whenever you want to take an action, whenever you want to take a decision, or whenever you want to relate with people, ask yourself this very important question. Will the successful version of me do this? Will the successful version of me do this? Will the successful version of me dress like this? Will the successful version of me relate like this? Will the successful version of me go for this event? You ask yourself these important questions, and believe me, what we know is that you can actually fake it till you make it. So you visualize you making it, and then the process, faking it, and then eventually you make it. So visualize yourself positively. Avoid negative thoughts. Avoid thoughts that are not constructive. There are two forms of thinking. In fact, the other one shouldn't even be categorized as thinking. So we have planning and worrying. Now, successful people don't worry. What they do is plan. Now, mediocres worry, failures worry. What successful people do is plan. They don't worry about anything. In fact, even if they lose money, they don't worry. What they do is immediately they begin to plan towards the next achievement. What mediocres do is find who to blame. They find why it didn't work. So who made it not work? Now, what successful people do in that situation, they step into it and say, okay, fine. What then can be done about this? Now, that's how to think. That's how to shape your mind. Be plan-oriented. Control your thoughts. Visualize positively. And the second thing in controlling your thoughts is you need to have what we call positive self-talk. Talk to yourself positively. Anytime you feel down, tell yourself why you need to stand up and pursue your dreams. Tell yourself daily that you like yourself. Tell yourself daily that you can do it. You stand in a situation that seems to be challenging. Tell yourself you can achieve it. You can attain that situation if only you put your mind to it. Talk to yourself. Now, there are some things you will never hear from others if you don't talk to yourself about it. So you need to talk to yourself, tell yourself you like yourself, tell yourself you can do it even if nobody tells you you can. That's a way of compiling your mind to think in a certain direction that will lead you towards the attainment of your goal. Fifthly and lastly, for this session, you need to employ self-discipline. Self-discipline. Now, what's self-discipline? By definition or simplification, self-discipline is your ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it, either you feel like it or not. So for you to be in the ring of self-disciplined individuals, you need to do what you need to do when you need to do it, even if you don't feel like it. If you feel like it, fine. Even if you don't feel like it, you still force yourself. The word is force, not because your mind is up for it, not because your body is up for it, but because it is necessary. Don't forget the definition, what you need to do when you need to do it, either you feel like it or not. Now, people we know are experts in procrastinating. So, and what procrastination does is that what we found out is that people that do procrastinate end up achieving nothing. So if you want to be an individual who is quoted around the ring of success, you need to kill procrastination. Now, the opposite of procrastination is what we discussed earlier, decisiveness. Number one, you need to be decisive. Number two, take control of your health, because if you don't feel well, you can't do well. Number three, you need to edit your relationships. Edit the people you spend your time with. Fourthly, you need to be in a state, in a very comfortable state of mind alignment. You need to control your thoughts. It's very important, because as a man thinketh, so is he. We know this because of the law of correspondence. Now, the law of correspondence says that as within, so without. As within, so without. Now, the picture that is inside you is what your world is reflecting to the outer environment. It's almost as if you are living in a 360-degree mirror. So wherever you look, there you are. Wherever you look, there you are. You look towards here, you are there. The mirrors are everywhere. Now, if you want to correct something in the mirror, what you correct is your thoughts. So you need to make sure that your thoughts are in alignment to your destination. Very importantly. And ultimately, you need to be self-disciplined, because if you're not self-disciplined, you can't do any of what I have just told you. And this is important because what we know is that life functions by laws. Now, if life functions by laws, that means for every cause there is an effect, right? There is a principle of cause and effect. For every cause there is an effect. So if you see an effect and you trace it back to the cause, what happens is you can trace back to the effect. So there's an effect, there is a cause for that effect. Now, if you want to prevent that effect, what you do is prevent the cause. And if you want to get that effect, what you do is you trace the cause, and then from the cause you move towards the effect. So very importantly, you need to be self-disciplined. And I'll thank you for joining us in this pathfinding session. And I hope and know that when you apply what you've just heard and learned, it's going to make a remarkable difference in your life. It's literally going to shoot you from failure and mediocrity to success. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'd like to thank you especially for joining us on today's pathfinding session, and we hope to see you on the next session, because we promise it's going to be illuminating, life-changing, life-impacting, life-transforming. And I'd like you to like, subscribe, share on this. If you have something resonating in your mind, you can comment below so others can partake from your experience. Now, you like it because YouTube works in such a way that the more like, subscription, the more sharing, it goes viral. And all we're doing is trying to spread the word. So you play your part to spread the word, and others will receive value also. Thank you.